Hey Emily, so I have watched three episodes from the series. I think it's brilliant. What are you most proud of from the series?
I think I'm most proud of, for one thing, I feel like, I haven't really been able to create a show yet of my own, and I do feel like the end product has my very specific sense of humor to it. And so I'm proud of that. But I'm also most proud of is that it's such a show with such a positive message right now. And it, showing characters who are allowed to have these big emotions, and this community, this tight community of Boysenberg that really takes care of, its people, and a mayor who's like so personable and like a friend to the kids. And so it really is this idealized town that I want to live in, and I hope other people see and want to live in too.
Absolutely. But when you talk about this town, I mean, you look at all the elements there. There's a yeti, there's a sea
Mhm.
monster, there's a giant. So, how did you come up with the idea of a wholesome town with all these fantastic creatures?
Well, I think it's always fun to have a little bit of fantasy. And I know when I was a kid, I couldn't accept that there wasn't magic in the world, you know. And so I feel like that's the world I wanted to be in as a kid, where there might be a Yeti around the corner, you never know. But just that there's possibility um, for magical things to happen, I think is what I wanted, but not so much that that's the focus of the show.
So, what were some of your influences then as a kid? I mean, what were some things that maybe transported you to this magical dimension?
Well, I grew up in Los Angeles. I'm an LA native, and growing up, my favorite place was Disneyland. It was really my happy place. And so I think, when I was a kid, I wanted to be Walt Disney. I wanted to call the shots at Disneyland, and kind of wanted my own empire of, you know, characters. And I would send letters to toy companies suggesting that they make certain toys. And so I was a very entrepreneurial little girl. And uh, I think that that's kind of driven me through adulthood too. Um,
It, do you have anything in common maybe with Goldie, or is that uh, do you have anything at all in common? Maybe?
yeah, I mean, well, first of all, when I was growing up, I was actually way taller than the other girls and boys in my grade. And I, went through puberty kind of early. And there was this awkwardness. I just felt so big. And, I was ashamed to be seen in a bathing suit. And, there are just a lot of I think a lot of girls struggle with feeling that feeling too big or too small. Or so this is a show that celebrates all different types of sizes, um, and different kinds of people and creatures. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you mentioned that you used to write to toy companies, which I find quite fascinating. What were some toys that you suggested?
Oh, so well, I tried to create my own Sanrio character called Boo Boo Bunny. And then
Wow.
uh there's this toy line called Little's Pet Shop. And I really wanted there to be, for whatever reason, a tree with a tire swing where a squirrel and raccoon lived in it, and skunk or something. And so I did a drawing and sent it to the toy company, and I didn't hear back, but they did make that toy.
Oh, they
Um,
did.
yeah. Um, so yeah. Uh,
But, yeah.
yeah, those are some examples. I also sold Pogs, my own. There was a big Pog craze in the 90s, milk cap craze, and I drew and cut my own out of cardboard and sold them at my school in bags.
Very cool. So as I look at the list of voice actors, what was it like working with Henry Winkler? Satulajee?
Oh, he is just really the nicest, sweetest man. And it was great, he just great that he wanted to be involved, but also to have his natural kind of personality and improvisation as Mayor Peach. Also, fun fact, Henry Winkler actually named his character himself.
Wow.
He asked if it could be Mayor Peach. We said, "Of course, Mr. Winkler."
So let's talk about the mayor of Boysenberg. Rather than deal with, all the issues in town, he would rather hang out with the children. And we learn and we learn at one point that he was a little mayor growing up, a
Oh,
complete species.
you watched the whole series, sounds
Uh,
like, or
uh, I
so
have not. I've only watched a
pretty
few
far.
episodes, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, you mentioned your humor, which is an inherent part of the series, but that is personified through the mayor. Was that, a labor of love, so to speak?
The mayor, the
Yeah,
character, or
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And we really loved this idea that he was always a mayor, even as a boy. It was kind of like his destiny. Um, and That, it's we really loved kind of building the lore in that way so that something in the past helped inform who he is today. And that Goldie kind of has that impact on everyone.
Very cool. I think I have time for one last question. Again, I mean, coming back to what you said, your sense of humor, do you feel I laughed at a lot of puns and jokes. Do you feel that the younger audience may not necessarily understand some of these funny things?
Um, I think that for the most part, the there aren't many jokes, but for the most part, I think kids will be able to understand the humor,
Okay,
because I think the humor, um, is quite direct, kind of like with the way the characters act, and but then there are maybe some very subtle things that aren't inappropriate at all, but just that might go
right.
over their heads. Yeah.
I loved everything about the hand. The hand being
Oh yeah.
disconnected.
I'm so
It,
glad you
it,
like that.
it was so meta in a way,
Yeah.
where she doesn't even realize that the hand is a part of her. Very cool. Congratulations. And I'm sure our readers will love the show as much as I did.
Oh, thank you so much. It was really nice to meet you. I'm so glad
Likewise.
you liked the show.
Thank you.